Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Mid-South Wrestling Review Series for 1983, specifically Christmas Eve 1983. So we're going back quite a ways. We're going to finish out 1983 here. I get to start 1984. I'm excited by that. But closing out 1983 is also interesting. We open with Mr. Wrestling 2 training Magnum TA. Magnum TA is in some sort of barn environment. Wrestling 2 is teaching him how to do squats, teaching him how to really do leg presses. Not really saying, he's basically saying he's trying to teach him fundamentals, and I think that's valuable. He eventually, next week, which we'll get to, does teach him how to do the knee lift, but he denies doing so up until that point. Larry Higgins and Wrestling 2 are adversaries up next. Wrestling 2 obviously has been a major star in the area, and ultimately we kind of see the lockup and kind of a side swing. Wrestling 2 does quite well, does the single trip, gets and hooks the leg in pretty quickly, and we see him step over almost into a half crab, and away we go. Good bit there by Wrestling 2, and he manages to carry things forward quite easily here. Again, shoots the half on the leg and takes him down. Lots of really interesting leg work for this several minutes of the match, and I think that's positive only because at the end of the day, when you're working a body part, it's more realistic, and Wrestling 2 certainly has proven that he has a realistic style. I did not know that he was in Mid-South as long as he was. Thought the majority of his stuff, Mr. Wrestling 2, was done in Georgia, but he's been here for a while, so I'm educating myself as we go. Hard shots by Higgins. Higgins, a really big guy. Actually, kind of surprised he doesn't go further in the business, or maybe he does, and I'm just not familiar with the 80s run. But needless to say, Wrestling 2 chops down on the leg some more and continues that fight and the continuation of the fight, and ultimately some big shots and the running knee lift, and away we go. 1, 2, 3, Wrestling 2 wins. Hacksaw Duggan and Crusher Darsow up next. Darsow, of course, turning on the entire American people and Duggan, most notably a week or two ago, and so that vengeance is there. Of course, he ends up becoming Crusher Darsow, and Duggan end up going into battle. Obviously, Darsow becomes Smash later in Demolition, among other things. Duggan, though, hits a few shots on him and an atomic drop, followed by a hip toss and a big shoulder tackle. Duggan not wasting any motion with his proprieties there, and we see they come back in after some distractions. Darsow using the stun gun across the top rope where he can, and ultimately gets quite a kind of a rundown with the inverted backlot, and that's there. We see the takedown, and ultimately, lots of back chin locks for that run, and Darsow really does do a pretty good job of beeling Duggan out of the corner. Duggan not terribly upset by that. A big shoulder tackle by Darsow, and then Duggan takes him down with a few shots, including the knee drop and only a 1 count there, actually. They're protecting Darsow still very well here for the Mid-South area. Don't know how long he's here. A referee goes flying to the outside, takes a heck of a bump on a shoulder tackle. Duggan down in the 3-point stance, hits his flying football tackle, and 1, 2, 3, there we go. There we should go, but Volkov makes his way in and distracts, and Darsow gets the victory there. Unfairly, but it is what it is. Midnight Express and Coco Ware and Mike Jackson up next. Certainly, the Midnight Express has not found their full, I guess you'd say, tandem run, but Midnight Express are proving already in Mid-South maybe a month in to their run, something like that, to prove to be a pretty good team, and Loverboy Dennis and Beautiful Bobby certainly proving they have the ability there. and we kind of see a tie up here, and ultimately, side headlock takeover. Mike Jackson is one of the enhancement talent. The other is Coco Ware. So interesting run there. Jackson does the headstand out of the head scissors, leaps over onto Bobby, and kind of Jackson is not willing to take too much of a backward step here. Jackson flips Bobby around with a couple hip tosses. Bobby bumps like $1,000,000. Guys should learn how to bump like beautiful Bobby. Big surprise there. Back suplex from the second rope on the inside by Bobby. Tags off to Loverboy Dennis, and Dennis goes for the cover right away, as you would expect. We see Coco come in and cut off the Midnights. Coco actually holds a full Nelson for a few minutes. Doesn't get all he wants on it, and they cut off with a body slam and then a tag to, again, the I guess leader of the Midnight Express, Beautiful Bobby, who runs around and gets Coco to crotch himself in the corner. Then we see a backbreaker by Dennis and more double teams from the Midnights. Beautiful Bobby from the top rope or second rope on the inside with the knee drop that he becomes famous for. Not the Alabama Jam, but the knee drop, which is another one of his deals. Jackson comes in, hits a few shots, and actually gets caught in a drop toe hold. And again, there we go. Ultimately, kick to the midsection and the Irish whip. And a big body slam by Beautiful Bobby. And Bobby certainly is not a guy known for power slam, but does a good one anyway. Cut the ring off on Jackson. Mike Jackson is a regular perennial guy. And Coco comes in, cleaning house. Actually catches Bobby under the chin with a shot after a hip toss. It looks pretty intense. Both members of the Midnight Express come into the ring. And then we see the hanging suplex kind of shot. And we get the 1, 2, and the 3. Midnight Express gets the victory. Music video runs about 4 minutes or so. Terry Taylor coming to town. They're hyping Terry Taylor like he's a big deal. There's footage from him in Florida, footage from him in other areas as well. Kind of hard to place everything, but it's there. Hacksaw Butch Reed is here, and he's here with Jim Neidhart. Parsons and Poffo are the members of the adversaries here. Parsons and Poffo, kind of an interesting team. Of course, Iceman King Parsons mostly known for his work in World Class, but he is here in Mid-South at least for several months anyway. Poffo, of course, coming in, going to Memphis eventually, but not yet. Lanny Poffo, obviously the brother of Randy Savage, and one of my favorite guys in reality. Just a guy who really is a really enjoyable talent, and ultimately we see takedowns by Reed and some mat wrestling there for the next couple of minutes. I would say that it would be fair to say Poffo had out wrestled Reed for a little bit. Reed, of course, a tag team champion, losing the North American Championship for a while. Interesting that almost a modified Thez press from Poffo, and that doesn't go exactly according to plan. Jim Neidhart doesn't quite catch him well. Tag off to Parsons. Parsons manages to get into the ring, comes off, comes back at Neidhart and flips him over with a hip toss, among other things, and really kind of get some good knowledge here going, and hard shots by Butch Reed, and you see some really hard shots by Iceman King Parsons. Parsons continues the fight, and we come back to more of that match. Very rare to see them take a commercial break in the middle of a contest, but they gave them a lot of time in this one, probably about 13 minutes. I don't know if that's the final segment of the show, but Neidhart manages to power down on the Iceman, and they do the Greco-Roman knuckle lock thing for a few minutes. Finally, Reed comes in, switches in, holds him in a front face lock for a little bit, and kind of cranks on him, tries to get Parsons to quit, doesn't get where he wants to get. They go to the outside. Parsons gets sent into the steel ring post, among other things, and meanwhile, Neidhart on the inside of the ring, beating on Poffo for quite a while. Poffo manages to register, doesn't really get all that he wants there, but it is what it is. And an Irish whip across the middle and a kick to the midsection. Sunset flip by Poffo for a near fall. Doesn't get all he wants on that, but he gets enough. And 3/4 roll almost pins Butch Reed. Does not get all he wants on that either, but there we go. Into the front chancery and several roll-ups again later. Goes over, kicks at Neidhart. Butch Reed taking the majority of the match. So I don't know if there's that ties into the dissension or what that looks like. But anyway, big back body drop by the Genius. And he does the roll through, kind of almost like a really sloppy looking senton, but not sloppy looking for 1983. Anyway, gonna get to say 84 pretty soon. Anyway, choke out by Reed over the middle rope, and again, the Iceman King Parsons comes back in, finally he gets bandaged up, comes back into the fight. Meanwhile, Poffo manages to bounce around, and we officially end up pretty much almost out of time. Bill Watts kind of talking about running low on time and kind of giving everybody the advance that they need, and kind of go forward into the close of the program without a finish, which is frustrating for a match that was given so much time. But anyway, that will close us for Christmas Eve of 1983. We will once again return with more right after this.